a couple of remarks.
Oh, that was a quick introduction. Thank you. Good to see everybody. I just walked off the main stage, obviously, and as I mentioned in there, everybody says it, but it's true. Really good to see everybody. I really do appreciate what you do. I see a lot of you, so many different places, and how hard you work, and all the different sports, and the travel, and everything. So really good to see everybody. It's an exciting time. For us, and I mentioned it in there, but it's true, the last year or two, it's like chaos, and chaos. But for us, it's like, let's get back to sanity. Let's get back to getting on the field, coaching football, and being around our players and being around our staff. And that's fun. And that's right around the corner, so looking forward to that. But great seeing everybody.
Front row, Coach, on the left.
Chris Farblin, KCOU 81 FM. Coach, you guys brought in a lot of players in the transfer portal, in particular on offense, Devin Leary, Ray Davis, and a lot of guys in the offensive line. I want to ask, do you believe that the transfer portal, do you believe it helps or hurts the parity of the sport, or widens or decreases the gap between talent between teams?
Yeah, I think at this point, that's hard to say. It's a great question. I'd say probably creates a little more parity. Just what the good and the bad from that is we're all in the same situation, right? So if you feel like maybe you're gaining on a team and maybe they don't have the guy at the right position or a weakness, they could just go out and fix it in free agency. And so that's the bad thing because, some of the teams that are competing for championships each and every year are still going to be going and getting those top free agents. So it's kind of a double-edged sword, but we've done very well in the portal. And as I say a lot, and people may get tired of it, but the situation is what it is. So we better do it the best we can and worry about Kentucky and handle my backyard the best I can.
Front row, right.
Jimmy Himes with the Sports Animal in Knoxville. Coach, talk a little bit about having Liam Cohen back as your offensive coordinator. And has he brought any new wrinkles from his first stop? Yeah,
it's really great having Liam back. I think the big thing for us is the familiarity is there. He knows what to expect from me. I know what to expect from him. It's not always easy. It's not going to happen just because we had success before, that it's going to happen overnight. I think with Liam, he brings an energy and a juice in the building that's important, and a belief to our players. And I think even more so because you did see that first year, when I hired him, he was kind of a relatively unknown. He hadn't been in that situation yet and called plays at that level and at the SEC level. So the fact that he did that and had success and went on to the Rams and then comes back, I think the confidence level from our players, from our team, from the organization is higher than it once was.
Left side, second row.
Coach Stoops, Jamal Kennedy, WSFA 12 Sports in Montgomery, Alabama. Alabama comes to Lexington this fall in November. Just curious in your thoughts, the excitement around hosting that team. The last time you beat Alabama, of course, was in the 90s, but it did come in Lexington.
I think, that's one of those situations where it's such a long way off. But we have great respect for the history, the tradition, especially the teams on the West that we don't see much that do come in there. That's part of it. That's part of the argument, right, with creating one division and rotating them and all that. So I think that's a fair question. We have so many games before that. November's a long way off. But, certainly, the respect is there for Alabama, and the fact that they're coming to your stadium, it's there. It's part of the schedule. It's good for season tickets. It's good for all those things. But for us, there's a lot of work to do in between.
Right side, front row.
Chris Williams, CBS Oklahoma. Coach, what do you think it'll be like for you the first time you take the team to Norman, and who do you think Bob will be pulling for when that day comes? Yeah,
that'll be definitely a strange feeling. The last time I was in Norman, I was the defensive coordinator, and we were playing them, and it was our first year at Florida State, and it didn't go so well. So I don't have such fond memories of that. So, of course, a year later in Tallahassee, it was a much better game, but in year one there at their place at that point in time wasn't much fun. But I wish I had got a shot at them a couple years later when we had them going in Tallahassee. But no, it'll be a challenge. Again, the respect I have for Oklahoma and Drake, who was asked that in there. I'm so proud of Drake and the way he's playing, and Coach Venables. I've known him for such a long time. So nothing but respect and admiration for Oklahoma. But when we play each other, we'll both be trying to win at all costs. So,
Second row.
Hey, Mark. Justin Rogers now heads to Auburn. What kind of a player does he bring to that program? And I guess how difficult are conversations like that when a player comes to you and decides to transfer? And kind of what was the crux of that conversation between you and
I'd
him?
like to keep that private, but I think the world of Justin. I really do. I love him. He's a great young man and a great player, and he'll do well. And I think we're all on both sides of that, and so I have nothing but good things to say about him, respect, and he'll do very well. And, so I wish him well.
Left side, third row, and then pass it one over.
Okay. Coach, what's the transition been like on offense with losing Will Levis, a guy that's been with Kentucky for so long, and moving off a guy like that? How's the offense going to look? Is it going to be any different?
Well, it'll be different. We have a new coordinator. I think the big thing, with Will, you always hate to see a great, a pro, a guy that's that talented move on. But as I always say, no matter who it is, you're just excited for the next guy, the next opportunity, who's going to step up and what's he going to do. But we have a new system, so things will look different, and we have a lot of confidence in Devin.
Third row.
Coach Nick Brooks, WTY in Dothan. Last year, you referred to John Sumrall as a home run hire for the Troy Trojans. Have you kept up with their season last year? I know they went 12-2.
I was right.
Have you had any conversation with Coach Sumrall since then, and what was that conversation like?
Yeah, I keep in touch with John and was asked about it in the other room as well. But no, just very proud of John and think the world of him. He's a great coach, and I was asked about it in there about him and some other defensive coaches that I've hired, with knowing that they were coming in as a position coach, but ultimately going to be a coordinator or a head coach. In his case, he went right to being a head coach and doing it well. So knew you had a great one in that hire, and he's doing great things, and nothing but happy for him.
Front row on the right.
Mark, what's impressed you most about Devin Leary?
I think just his work ethic, his attitude. You saw the talent on film. You knew what you were getting. A very good football player, but I just really like him as a young man. The way that he's coming in, trying to earn his way, earn the players' respect, the coaches' respect. Some guys come in and it's just nice to see him kind of finding his voice, finding that leadership role, and kind of commanding that through time. Doesn't just happen overnight. And I think he just wants to put his head down and lead and be a great quarterback and lead that offense and help us win football games.
Athletically, do you see similarities between him and Will Levis?
I do. I see both of them creative at times in the pocket, and in their ability to, I think last year was different for Will. Certainly once he got injured, his ability to scramble and just, that comfort level wasn't there. He was playing with an injury. But, prior to that, both of them have that ability to escape and elude pressure, to either get the ball down the field or get some tough yards with their feet, whatever they have to do.
Front row.
Hey, Coach, great to see you.
Good to see you.
AP Stedham, AP and Kelly, as we see at Syndicated Radio. Coach, can you tell us about your wide receivers, some of your young wide receivers this year?
Yeah, I think, last year you saw that, and Dane Key and Barryon Brown, two freshmen, that really, had a big year for true freshmen. We need to see their growth, and we need to see some other guys step up. Tavion T-Rob in the slot position really has that ability. We need him to continue to improve. A guy by the name of DeKel Crowdis can really run, has some great top-end speed. So we feel like we have some weapons there, and needed to shore up the offensive line to get that ball down the field, and try to get back to some play action, and we need to create more explosive plays.
Right side, third row. We'll take both of you guys.
Mark, Kentucky was one of the first sort of states to adopt NIL legislation. I'm kind of curious on your thoughts on that, with obviously with the current gray area, with the IRS memo, and obviously the statement made by the NCAA. How are you sort of operating the program in lieu of all this gray area? I mean, is there confidence in the state law in that process and so forth?
Yeah, I have confidence in the state law, and I don't really want to get into all the weeds of the gray, if you will. I don't think that would be wise. But I think there's a lot of gray nationally.
Coach Stoops, you've talked a lot about Oklahoma today and your respect for Brent Venables. I was just curious, after a disappointing season last year at OU, what advice, if at all, would you give for them to prepare for the SEC?
I don't need to give them advice. I don't want that soundbite out there. That I'm a little wiser than that after 11 years. So I don't think I need that narrative in the Daily Oklahoman tomorrow. So Brent knows what he's doing. That program knows what he's doing, and they will figure it out. And it's a long ways off till we play them, but I have a lot of confidence in Brent and that program.
Final two questions will be here, second row and then in the back.
Sierra Newton for BBN tonight. We've seen a lot of growth out of Alex Safari. What are your plans for him this season?
Yeah, Alex has been, came in and did a really good job as a true freshman. He's the type of guy that could play multiple positions. In kind of being such a young guy, to see where his body goes, because he's a big physical guy already as a freshman. But he has some unique skill sets, and he's just a very good football player. So we just need to continue to work with him, continue to play him at the position where we did a year ago at the nickel position a little bit, but also safety, and we'll see where it goes with him, because he's talented, but again, he's young, and where's his body going? I mean, some guys gain 10, 20, 30, 40 pounds. You just don't know where it's going to go, but he's a good football player.
Final question.
Dan Peck, ESPN 106.7 in Auburn. Coach, when you got to Kentucky, Hugh Freeze was the head coach at Ole Miss. Now he's back in the SEC at Auburn. Your relationship with Coach Freeze and your thoughts on his return to the conference?
Yeah, I was happy to see Coach back. He and I, back in his first go-around, used to play a little golf prior to our SEC meetings over in the spring, and we talked about getting that back together again. But no, he'll do a great job, and good to see him back.
Coach, thank you very much.
Thank
Great
you
job.
all.